How's it going, gang? It's a final render here, and patch 9.5 for Fallout 76 has just been released, which has a few minor bug fixes, some small changes to the atomic shop as per normal, but also we get the brand new event, Project Paradise. This is the second of the new dungeons that have been added to Fallout 76, and these obviously were an enormous surprise when they were first revealed in the Wild Appalachia trailer, because there wasn't anything on the original roadmap of them, but now they are in the game for us to enjoy. We obviously had the Burrows a few weeks ago, and the Burrows was a very mixed bag. A lot of people feel as if it was definitely hyped up to be something that it was not. And not only that, but the event itself is just way too easy. It is very, very simple, and also it is a quest that is non-repeatable. But what we have got here is an actual event that is specifically targeted for higher level players. It actually has a warning on the door saying this is recommended for level 50 players and up. And that is something that we have definitely needed inside Fallout 76. I just got done playing a bunch of the event with Juicehead. You can go ahead and check out his live stream if you want to see a more unedited version of us playing the event itself. But the event itself, I think, is actually extremely cool, and is definitely something that Fallout 76 has needed for a while. More high level content, because a lot of the stuff we have had in 76 has tried to be inclusive of everyone, of every skill level and of every time played. But really, if you've been playing the game still to this day, you want something a bit harder and more kind of end game level stuff. And whilst this isn't end game, it has that kind of same difficulty level as something like the Scourge Beast Queen or the Imposter Sheep Squatch. So in order to trigger the Project Paradise event, you need to go to Arktos Pharma. Arktos Pharma is a pharmaceutical company which is in the forest. Very interesting that it's in the forest actually, because the forest is normally the low level area. But obviously in this case it does have a warning saying you should be level 50 before you go down this elevator and take part in the event. Once you are there, you will have to go to a terminal and initiate Project Paradise. And then once you are there, you need to complete several objectives in what is quite easily the most awesome looking interior area inside Fallout 76. This place is gorgeous. It's got giant landscapes, really tall ceilings, a huge varieties of plant life, and it is a very, very cool location. That's easily one of my favorite things about this new update, is that we have got this amazing new location. And once you are inside the first area, what you will need to do is collect various resources around the area and put them into feed troughs. Each of these feed troughs needs a certain type of plant life that can be found within the biome you are in. The actual area is split up into 3 different biomes, and then you need to quickly fill these feed troughs with as much of the material it wants as possible. And you need to give it a lot, because the more you put into it now, the easier time you will have later on. Because after you have fed it with as much food as possible in all 3 of the areas, it will then spawn a random creature of a random level depending on how much food you put into the feed trough. For example, sometimes we have had very high level creatures like Deathclaws, but then again there have been other times where we put very little food into it and we had to defend a tick or something very small like that, something very weak, against 3 levels of enemies. This is when we get a kind of horde event going, and we need to defend at least one of these creatures from all of the bugs and all of the monsters that come to attack. And there are lots of legendary enemies coming at you, lots of very high level enemies, and the more of them you defend, then obviously the better chance you will get of getting something really cool on the 3rd wave, which is when they actually bring in some alpha predators. This was a very cool moment when they brought in the alpha predators, because the better you've done, the more dangerous of an enemy you have to go up against. And we finally have some very tough enemies for us to beat inside Fallout 76. At one point, we even had a level 100 3-star legendary sheep squatch. And we also had level 100 fog crawlers, genuinely very tough enemies to beat. And it was very, very cool. And obviously, the more of those animals we kept alive at until that point, the more of those legendaries we would get at the end. So the better you do in the first and second challenges, the better rewards you get at the end. Overall, you have a 30-minute time limit in order to complete this event, and you are constantly under attack from various enemies and robots and monsters of all shapes and sizes. So, overall, what are some of the good things about the event, and what are maybe some of the bad things? Let's start with some of the bad stuff, so we end on a positive note. Some of the bad stuff is, as of right now, it does feel as if it could be explained a little bit better. Like, for example, in the first event, in order to fill the feed troughs, you need to collect whatever material is in that particular biome. And the materials you need to collect always glow a bright orange. It's very obvious now, I pointed out, but there are large amounts of plant life which are just glowing orange and have this orange smoke coming off them. That's what you need to put into the feed trough. However, it's not clearly obvious for first time you do it that that's what you need to actually do, because it's telling you to put several brand new items into another brand new item, and it was a little bit confusing as to what to actually do. But once we worked it out, it was very, very easy to get it going. And also, it isn't really very clear about how much stuff you need to put into the feed trough. Like, sometimes I would put so much in there, maybe 20 or 25 amount in there, but I didn't actually know if that was enough. I sometimes felt as if it would be nice to actually get an indication saying, hey, you've put enough in there now, you can stop, you can go and help the other 3 habitats now, or the other 2 habitats, sorry. That would be a nice little thing. But I suppose it does give you a little rating just on the top right of the screen, but it wasn't immediately clear what that actually meant at that moment in time. Another thing which I feel as if to mention is that the actual reward you get for completing the event isn't that special. I did get some cool things, like I did get the brand new bear claw that you can get in the game. It is very, very cool, but at the minute it is not anywhere near as good as my bloodied swing speed death claw, so I'm still going to be using that for a while on my melee character. But it is a very cool thing, and it looks very, very cool. What can I say? The modeling on it is fantastic. And there are some other things as well, like you can get Arktos Pharma lab coats and stuff like that, more apparel and things. But I suppose really, your main reward for completing this, which is now moving into the positives of the event, is that this place is a huge XP and legendary farm. This place is incredible for ranking up fast. When I was playing with Juicehead, we played it maybe 4 or 5 times or so, even one time on survival. That was damn funny. Check this out.
Come on, Juicehead, you got it. You got it. Hey, we did it. Oh, everyone's an enemy now. I got someone.
Why?
Cause I can, buddy. Ah, ash.
That was absolutely hilarious. I found that to be one of the most fun times I had on the live stream with Juicehead. Again, go ahead and check out his live stream if you want to go and see his perspective of what just happened. But it was hilarious when everybody suddenly turned hostile on each other at the end of the event. But going back to what I was saying is that this place is an absolute huge XP farm. I am really looking forward to trying to drop a nuke on this place to see, will this actually change the event? I'm sure Rifle Gaming's on it already, but I would love to see, do you get even higher level enemies, even tougher enemies, more legendaries if you go and nuke this place? Because it is a huge legendary farm and it is a huge XP farm. Best advice I would say, go into this place with some cranberry relish. Go ahead and eat the cranberry relish so that you get, I think it's an extra 10% XP. Or even better, do it on survival mode as well. And just do this event as many times as you possibly can, because there are so many enemies. Many of them are anywhere from level 40 for the weaker ones, all the way up to, as I said, level 100 for some of the alpha ones. So you get an insane amount of XP from them. And the amount of legendaries you get as well is also very, very cool. But overall, I suppose I would say this is a fantastic event inside Fallout 76. It's not a dungeon, okay? It was obviously originally advertised as a dungeon. That it ain't. What it is a really fun event that is meant for higher level players. The character I was playing with is definitely OP and is a level 142. And whilst they did die a couple of times, it wasn't really a problem. I was able to get back into the fight very quickly and easily. And obviously at this stage, there are loads of people doing it. I don't believe it is instanced, as Bethesda were originally talking about. They said, we would like to do it, but we're not certain if we can get it instanced in time. So evidently, they just thought it's either not needed to be instanced considering how tough it is, or maybe it just didn't come out in time, maybe in the future, who knows. But I do really think that this event is fantastic. I absolutely adore it, and I'm really looking forward to more high-level content like this, because don't get me wrong, Bethesda, I understand that you want to make content that everybody can enjoy, but at the same time, everybody can still enjoy this, just maybe not straight away. And even if you encourage people to get to higher levels quicker in order to try these events, then people, I think, will also have a lot of fun as well. So it's not the end of the world if we have some content which is kind of locked behind a level, even if that's just a difficulty level. Still let them in, but they just may not survive, if you know what I mean. So thank you very much for watching this video, people. This has been my very quick and immediate reactions to Arktos Pharma. And obviously, this is pretty much the last bit of DLC we're getting in Wild Appalachia. I mean, unless they very quickly roll out the camp decorating, which I'm very much looking forward to. But it's been a really nice send-off, this event. I think it is a really cool one. And it's definitely something that 76 needs in order to keep the higher level players engaged. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to check out the cool Patreon people in the description below who help support the channel with their financial donations. Juicehead, of course, can also do the same. And I'll see you around. This has been the final render, and you've been the audience. Until next time, farewell.